Amin Kermani here, folks, and welcome back to another video on my YouTube channel. What we're gonna do in today's video is review 5 idiomatic expressions that you can use to say that someone says something without thinking about it, or someone says something without giving it any prior thought, or someone says something without considering its consequences, or someone talks about something or says something without thinking about what they're saying or without understanding what they're talking about or what they're saying. So let's get started. The first idiom is to say something off the top of your head. To say something off the top of your head. To say something off the top of your head. When you say something off the top of your head, you just say it without thinking about it, or you don't give it any prior thought, or you just say it without understanding what you're saying, or without considering the consequences of what you're saying. So, to say something off the top of your head. An example: before you say anything off the top of your head, always make sure that you double check with me. Before saying anything off the top of your head, always make sure that you double check with me. Before saying anything off the top of your head, always make sure that you double check with me. Which means before you say anything without thinking about it, or before saying anything, before giving it any prior thought or considering its consequences, always make sure that you double check with me, or you share what you want to say with me so that I can help you with it, or so that I can give you advice on whether you should say it or not. So before saying anything off the top of your head, always make sure that you double check with me. Let me give you another example. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean anything. I just said that off the top of my head. Sorry, I didn't mean anything. I just said that off the top of my head. Sorry, I didn't mean anything. I just said that off the top of my head. Which means I didn't mean to upset you, or I didn't mean anything by saying that, or I did not intend to upset you, or I had no intention of doing anything or saying anything to upset you. I just said it without thinking about it. Alright, now we get to the second idiom, which is to put your food in your mouth. To put your food in your mouth. When someone puts their food in their mouth, what they do is they say something without thinking about it, without considering what they're saying or considering the consequences or the negative or destructive impacts or sides of what they're saying. Or they don't even understand what they're talking about. Or they say something without thinking about the negative consequences or the negative sides of what they're saying. So, to put your food in your mouth. Let me give you an example. I didn't mean to upset you. I think I just put my food in my mouth. Oh, sorry, I just put my food in my mouth. I didn't mean to upset you. Sorry, I just put my food in my mouth. I didn't mean to upset you. Sorry, I just put my food in my mouth. I didn't mean to upset you, which means I had no intention of upsetting you, or I didn't really have it in mind to upset you, to say anything to you, to upset you. I just said it without thinking about it. Alright, another example. You better not put your food in your mouth. Please think about what you want to say. You'd better not put your food in your mouth. You'd better think about what you want to say. You'd better not put your food in your mouth. You'd better think about what you want to say. Alright, now we're proceeding to the third idiom that you can say to say that someone just says something without thinking about it much, which is not to mince your words. Not to mince your words. Not to mince your words. So when someone does not mince their words, they do not analyze what they're saying, or they do not assess or evaluate the positive or negative impacts and consequences of what they're saying. So when someone does not mince their words, they just say something without thinking about it, without considering the negative and positive aspects of what they're saying, or without weighing what they're saying up. So when someone does not mince their words, they do not weigh up the consequences of what they're saying. Anyway, or they do not weigh their words. Let me give you an example. She didn't want to upset you. She just didn't mince her words. She didn't mean to upset you. She just didn't mince her words. She didn't mean to upset you. She just didn't mince her words, which means she had no intention of upsetting you or annoying you. She just said something without thinking about it, or she did not weigh her words, or she did not weigh out what she was saying. So she had no intention of upsetting you, or she did not mean to upset you. She just said something to you without thinking about it, or without weighing her words, or weighing what she was saying up. Alright, one more example. If you cannot mince your words, you'd better not manage this company. If you cannot mince your words, you'd better not manage this company. Which means, if you cannot weigh out what you're saying, or if you cannot weigh your words, or if you cannot think about what you're saying or talking about, you better not manage this company. You better put an end to managing this company. If you think you're not capable of weighing your words or considering the consequences of what you're saying. Alright, now we're getting to the fourth idiom that you can use to say that someone says something without thinking about it, which is to shoot your mouth off. To shoot your mouth off. To shoot your mouth off. When you shoot your mouth off, you just say something off the top of your head, or you just say something without thinking about it, or without considering the consequences of what you're saying, or without weighing up what you're saying. So you shoot your mouth off. Let me give you an example. When you want to talk to these women, you better not shoot your mouth off. When you're talking to these women, you better not shoot your mouth off. When you're talking to these women, you better not shoot your mouth off. Which means, when you're talking to these women, you better understand what you're saying, or what you're talking about, or you better think about what you're saying. So you better not shoot your mouth off when talking to these women. One more example. Why do you always shoot your mouth off and upset the people around you? Why do you always shoot your mouth off and upset the people around you? Why do you always shoot your mouth off and upset the people around you? Which means, why don't you think about what you're saying before saying it? Because what you say upsets the people sitting around you, or the people around you, because you always say all that you say or whatever you say without thinking about it. So you better think about what you're saying in order not to upset the people around you. Alright, now we're getting to the fifth idiomatic expression that you can use to emphasize that someone says something without thinking about it, which is to talk through your head. To talk through your head. To talk through your head. So when you talk through your head, what you do is say something off the top of your head without thinking about it, or without giving it any prior thought, or without weighing it up, or weighing up your words, or considering the consequences of what you're saying. So to talk through your head. An example. Don't take her seriously. She only talks through her head. Do not take her seriously. She always talks through her head. Do not take her seriously. She always talks through her head. Which means, you better not take her seriously, or take what she says seriously, because she doesn't mean anything by what she says, or she just says everything off the top of her head, or she just says everything without thinking about it. So don't take her seriously. She just says what she says without thinking about it, or without giving it any prior thought. So don't take what she says seriously. She always talks through her head. One more example. He's completely drunk, which is why he's talking through his head. He is completely drunk, which is why he is talking through his head. He is completely drunk, which is why he is talking through his head. He is completely drunk, which is why he is talking through his head, which means the reason why he does not understand what he's saying, or he says what he's saying without thinking about it, or without giving it any prior thought, is he's drunk, he's wasted. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He doesn't understand what he's saying. He cannot assess or evaluate the negative or positive aspects of what he's saying because he's drunk. So the reason why he's talking through his head is he's drunk. Alright, that's about all. So today in this video, you learned 5 idiomatic expressions to put emphasis on the idea that someone says something without thinking about it, or without assessing or evaluating what they're saying. Now what I want you to do is subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't done so yet. Like this video and make some sentences by using all the idioms that you learned in this video and comment them down below. I'm going to be back with another video. Hope you enjoyed watching this video.